Hi everyone, it's Kim Ellis from Kim Ellis Embracing Souls, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you've joined us today and so excited. I've got an incredible lady with me today. I've got Lucy from the Permission Slip with me today, and we're thrilled to have Lucy here. And Lucy's going to share a little bit about her journey and some of the things that she does to support women in their journey and so forth. So Lucy, I'm thrilled that you can join me today. So do you just want to share a little bit about what you do and a little bit about the Permission Slip and some of the courses that you run to support people?
Sure, thank you so much, Kim. I guess my journey started around 10 years ago when I probably first met you as well, and that was my insight into focusing a bit more on myself, what I really wanted to create for my life. I had just arrived here from the UK, and community and connection was huge for me, and I discovered that's a big thing for women especially, to really feel part of something and be heard and have a space to connect and know that they're not alone going through a lot of things they're going through.
It's a huge thing. I mean, to move from a different country on the other side of the planet and come over, to Australia, which, I know Lucy's so grateful to live in a beautiful country. But it's also important that she has that connection with community and other people. So, Luce, what's happened since then? What's evolved since then with you?
Well, since then I have become a new mum as well. So I now have a 5.5-year-old. But again, things changed then. I realised that becoming a mum, there was a lot of expectation around that and what it looked like. I'm a very independent person. I've taken myself around the world and lived on the other side of the world, and people kept saying to me, oh, it's not going to be about you anymore. And I just thought, wow, I don't want to lose my independence and who I am. And so that's been a big part of my work too, remaining myself, Lucy, and being a mum, and how important that's been for me to have that message with other women, because a lot of people who were my clients initially were in their sort of late 40s, 50s, and it was because their kids had left home and they'd practically shelved themselves for 20 years bringing up their kids, and they had no idea who they were, what they enjoyed doing. And so it was that self-discovery again, and I guess I just wanted to bridge that gap.
It's such a huge thing, I guess women in that age group, and of course that's where, I vividly remember myself being in that space. I vividly remember myself having many of my friends in that space where we've raised our children, and then we go like, who are we? What do we stand for? Like, what makes us happy? What do we even like to do? And we so many women, we lose ourselves in that place. So it's really beautiful that Lucy, I guess through her discovery of being a coach to those women, has thought, wow, that's something I've got to be mindful of, and has taken ownership of that and created something that, that she, is really important, that, she knows who Lucy is and she knows what Lucy likes to do. So,
and we're forever changing. I think it's understanding that it's okay to embrace change, and that, it is a big learning curve becoming a parent, and there's going to be different dynamics, and we're all going to parent differently, and there's a lot of comparison that comes up, which again I think is where a lot of our confidence goes, because we don't know. We've got to learn, how do we want to parent, and what kind of lifestyle do we want for our kids? Just because a book says this is the ideal, it may not work for you. And I think that was the other really important thing around bringing women together, and understanding that we all have different journeys, but we can learn from each other, but we don't have to take on everything that everyone else does. And so that brought me then to a deeper work in our essence as women, in trusting our gut, trusting our instincts, and learning more around our emotional behaviors and expressions throughout our cycles and things like that I had no idea about. I just thought I was crazy once a month. And so, being able to share with women that there's times that we can feel more sensitive and vulnerable, or energized, or needing to be slow, and those things, and how that impacts our connections with others and the dynamics in our home and our work, as well. I think a lot of women are balancing everything, and we want to go back to work, and we want to pursue our passions and things that we enjoy, but if it's at the expense of being ourselves and feeling good in our lives, what are we doing? So it was just, I've been mindful, and Kim and I have had this experience a lot with people in our worlds, around people being very successful and putting a lot into their businesses, but at the expense of being burnt out, stressed, anxious, depressed, and again losing who they are. Like, they put on these masks, and I was witnessing that, and I didn't want to go through that.
Yeah.
So I've chosen a journey where I really keep choosing what feels good in the moment, and it's changed a lot over the years. But that's worked for me, and I love being able to share that with other women, that there is no formula other than choosing and continuing to choose what works for you in the moment, what works for your family, and just pursuing those passions.
Yeah, so true. You know, I talked to Lucy before and kind of said, you know, I was one of those people that pushed myself until I actually burnt out and crashed. And, you know, as I said in many of my podcasts, I don't recommend you going down that track because, you know, it's because when you arrive at the top, it's like, what's next and what's next. So, you know, that was a really big point for me in my life, that it was, you know, I had to really realize that, hey, this is an actual internal job. It's not an external thing. And all those diversions and distractions and all of those other things that we spend so much time doing to fill holes in our core is not actually what brings you your true happiness. So it's really, as Lucy said, you know, it's just discovering your own self. You know, what is it that makes you happy? Is it sitting down the beach? Is it sitting down the lake? It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Like, things don't make you happy.
No.
They just plug holes in your core. So what are those things? You know, for me, and I know for Luce too, I quite often see Luce hanging out down the beach and swimming in that beautiful water and stuff. You know, they're the things I love, going down the beach and taking the dog for a walk, or sitting underneath a beautiful tree and just, you know, soaking in all those things. It doesn't have to cost money. No. It's, you know, the simple things sometimes are, you know, the things that really ground you and make you understand who you are, and, you know, what is it that you want, what do you want your life to look like, because most people have no idea.
Absolutely. I had a course, I think it was called Understanding You, a few years ago, and I just remember having that activity, you know, write down, you know, 3 things that you love doing, and the silence in the room. Yeah. They could think of everything their kids love doing, everything that, you know, they don't like doing. Yeah. But what they did love doing, I was like, this is the problem. How can you expect to enjoy, you know, and have that essence of joy in your life if you don't know what lights you up? And I think we resist a lot of the time because we think we have to have money, or we have to be somewhere, or be doing certain things to enjoy life. But it's just finding those little things that you can do without thinking of, even like you said, the beach. I'm just like, times I'll be like, you know what, I'm driving somewhere, but I'm just going to stop off and intentionally just have a breath of fresh air at the beach. I don't have to spend half an hour or an hour there. It's those moments. And I think we can often make it too hard and we haven't got time. Yeah. But what are you doing where you could, you know, implement things or integrate things that you do enjoy in that activity? Yeah. Then there's no excuse of time or cost, because you're doing it anyway.
That's exactly right.
And the other big thing was, perspective on things. We think of things in a certain way. We've always done things a certain way. And what I've loved about really connecting with and sharing stories with others is you start to see things from other perspectives, and therefore have a greater understanding of yourself and then what you enjoy. But if we keep doing the same thing and expecting change, it's never going to happen. We know that.
Absolutely.
But to discover what you enjoy, you do have to be willing to try new things. You have to be willing to listen to others, and I think that's what I've enjoyed, is really just putting myself out my comfort zone sometimes, but that way you are always going to learn something. You're going to learn what you don't like, and you're going to learn what you do like. I just think, you know, as Lou says, it's being open to change, because, you know, if we continue to get what we've always done, we continue to get, you know, I don't know about you, but I don't want the same decade that I've just had. I want to have some new things into my life from the last decade. Not that it's been a bad decade, but there's things that I really want to shift up and change and to do for myself. And it's connecting with others, you know, it's getting rid of those old paradigms, because they're just, you know, as I said before, they're not even real, they're stories. So, you know, what is it that you want, not what others want you to do, but what is it that you want?
And that's the most important thing. And most people have, as Lou said, no idea what that thing is. So Luz, share with us a little bit more about one of the courses that you're about to launch.
Yeah, so I've got a course called Let's Love Ourselves, which is often a trigger in itself to people, because they're like, how do I love myself? And if I love myself, am I selfish or up myself or all those things? And we, especially as women, pour so much love onto everyone else. And we get exhausted because we forget about ourselves. We're always last on the list. And like I said, even just asking what do you love to do? We're doing things all day long. You can tell, the million things on your list that you do, but what do you do for yourself? And the difference between self-love and self-care was huge. It's a buzzword these days about self-love, but self-care is what you do. Having a nice bath or going for a walk at the beach, but self-love is how you feel doing those things. So this is why I say, what do you love to do? Because it's really important to feel present and really feel the benefit of doing the things that light you up, because it recharges you and avoids that burnout thing of avoiding your passions and things. And so the course is very simple, daily reminders, I guess, and insights into us as a whole. So it's practical things, it's looking at our different emotions. I love working with women's cyclic nature and, understanding that we're always in this flow. We're never going to be 100% on, and we're never going to be able to just relax 100% of the time, because we do have, our responsibilities and things, but how do we navigate that and do all the things, but really nurture ourselves as a priority? Because if we don't look after ourselves, we can't look after others. We can't, you say, fill, love from the overflow, but it's little things. You have to understand it's not a really big demanding thing. It's the little things that are attainable and are achievable that you can do every day and you want to do every day. I think that's the other thing. There's things that people say you need to do. I know I don't want to do them, and therefore I'm going to resist it, and then I feel like, not a failure, but I'm not doing it. Find what you do want to do and enjoy it.
What are some of those things, Luce, that you can, just little suggestions that you might be tuning into this podcast, or you might be watching this on YouTube. What are some of the little things that you can, just the little things that might just start someone just to start to allocate the time, because you've got a choice, that. Yep. You can continue to say, I'm too busy, I don't have time, or you can choose to allocate 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So what are some of those things?
Well, I guess the first thing is just being present when you're doing things. There's no extra time. Like if you're making a cup of tea in the morning, just be present with the choice of what tea you're choosing to use, or just as you are drinking it, just take those minutes to be present. I think so often we're multitasking so many things, we are never present with anything. So I think being mindful of being present with certain things that you are doing day to day anyway, you will soon see how much more you enjoy that, or don't. You'll choose different tea because you've realized you've been drinking the same crap tea that you didn't want to drink first. And now you're like, wow, that's a luxury of something I enjoy doing, and I'm just going to change it up. So something you're already doing, but tweaking it a little bit. I think as well, nourishing ourselves, again, sort of showers. I know in my course, I said to people to buy a body brush. And it's having something that you do once but has so many benefits. So things like that, where you can be actively acknowledging your body. We're so disconnected from our bodies. We're wandering around with everything in our head, and we wonder why we don't feel great and our bodies are sluggish, because we're ignoring it from the head down. And that was huge for people to actually really acknowledge and appreciate their body. And like I say, you're having a shower every day anyway, so it was just a little extra thing of acknowledging whilst you were doing that. And
great tip, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that one on as well.
And what else? I just think just being mindful of things throughout the day that you are noticing you either enjoy or you don't, and how can you change that? So a lot of the things you'll realize the things that you don't enjoy. How can you choose to see that differently or make a different choice? And reach out for help. Oh my goodness, the amount of times we're so overwhelmed because we won't ask for help. And yet we can all benefit from helping each other. We all want to help. So I love when I ask friends for help. They're like, oh yeah, I'll help. And it's reminding them to ask for help as well. Like, don't just go helping everybody. It's that reciprocation of how we all feel by giving and receiving, because we can't just be giving out all the time. We need to receive.
Absolutely, that's a huge
and practice
lesson
that.
for most people. Is to, we're all very good at, as Lou said, at giving, but very few of us are good at receiving. And whether we feel like we don't deserve it, or whether we feel like we've got to be superwoman and be, if we're not capable, if we can't do that's a load of BS. Like, really learn to receive the help.
Receive compliments. When people say you look beautiful today, don't, oh, this old thing.
Yeah.
Receive, because again, it reminds other women that we're seeing beauty in each other, and we have to remember to see that beauty within ourselves.
Yes.
And
sure.
that's another huge thing. We deflect so much, and therefore we're blocking our receiving. And it's in experiences too. I know the more I do certain experiences that I love, the more of them seem to come my way. And so it's remembering that law of attraction in again, not what I don't want, what do you want, and just keep thinking like that.
Yeah, some great tips there. So thank you, Luce. We're absolutely thrilled, and I'm sure if you've had your pen and notepaper out, that you will pick up a lot of things that Lucy has shared with us. Make sure you follow Luce on Facebook.
Yeah, on the permission slip.
Stay tuned for new courses being launched and so forth that you can tap in and really starts to change some of those old paradigms or those old stories that you've been circling in your head for such a long time. And Lucy will be able to help you shift those paradigms or shift those belief systems and really start to create some new belief systems and some new joy and happiness in your life, to things that you really want to do, not that things that you feel like you have to do. So thank you again for tuning in. Stay, as I said, follow Luz, and stay tuned with my podcast, and follow me on YouTube and social media under Kim Ellis Embracing Souls. And we really look forward for you to tuning in with us again next week. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Thanks, Luz.